Hey everybody, it's Charlie. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to see Guardians of the Galaxy or you're going to see it this weekend. It's an amazing film. There are a number of huge comic book changes that I'll explain. Some of them are just in service of things they've already changed, like you change one thing and then later on you have to change a bunch of other things. And some of them are just in the name of being as weird and cool as possible. So just careful for minor spoilers from the movie if you haven't seen it yet, and I'm doing a new round of the giveaway that I'll explain at the end of the video. Starting with number 10, Baby Groot. Not quite the change that you would think it would be. So Baby Groot is this dumb animal in the movie. He is totally adorable. He services a couple big plot twists, and that's largely why I think that he's Baby Groot, especially because of the twist for how they defeat Ego the Living Planet. And there's a parody between his character and young Peter Quill. It's all about fathers and sons. The timeline makes it work though. This is only 2 months after the first Guardians film, so it's not that big of a change to slow down the rate of his growth, because by the end of the movie, he's teenage Groot. Then 4 years later during Infinity War, we'll see full-size Groot and he'll be back to normal. The biggest change is what's going on inside his head. So you realize in the movie they keep him dumb because they want a couple comedic twists, especially the big twist at the end. Do not press the death button, or the montage earlier when he's trying to get Yondu's fin. In the comics, when he's regrowing himself, he's still the exact same version of Groot. He has his normal mental capacity, so even when he's really small, he's still the same Groot. Number 9 was Nebula's backstory. She said that Thanos painfully upgraded her every time she lost a battle to Gamora so that she would be stronger. She was tortured by Thanos. He's the worst dad ever. They're very true to the spirit of their relationship. Nebula definitely wants to kill Thanos in the comics, but it plays out in a slightly different way during the Infinity Gauntlet storyline. It's actually pretty cool. I don't know if they'll ever get to it during the movies though. The next big one is Mantis's backstory. She says the Ego found her in her larval state, so she lives in service of helping him sleep. She also probably influences other people that he brings to his planet, the other children that he tests out. It's sort of implied that she uses her powers to control the minds of other people that come to Ego. But in the comics, her backstory is crazy. It's been changed a bunch of times. She starts out in the comics as a celestial Madonna to the Kree. They feel like she's going to give birth to this ultimate celestial creature. She's still a hybrid, but she looks like this. She ends up working with the Avengers. She even has a relationship with the Vision, but then all the drama with Scarlet Witch, her children, her going crazy happens. And the next time she pops up is during the Annihilation Conquest storyline, is a completely different version of the character that's much closer to what you saw in the movie. Next one's a big one, Ego the Living Planet's powers. So he can make human forms of himself. He can terraform other planets with spores, but it's not quite the way you see it happen in the movie. When he's terraforming a planet, that planet becomes Ego, like he can regrow himself, but there aren't multiple versions of Ego. There's only one version, and his brain does reside in the center, but it's not like there's one version that you kill and then you kill him forever. He can actually survive a lot more, and he'll send his spores out to another planet to take root and regrow another version of himself. So yes, they imply that Ego is dead at the end of this movie because the light went out, but that's not exactly how comic book Ego works, so they could always bring him back in the movies using the comic book explanation if they want, but I don't know if they're going to go that route. The next big one is Starhawk's backstory. This is actually even bigger, but like Mantis's backstory, it's so complicated it's just done in service of making things easier to follow. In the movie, Starhawk is just a normal Ravager. You don't know whether or not he has special powers, but in the comics, he's actually the son of Kismet, this character right here, Ayesha, and Quasar. He reads a little bit like Marvel's version of Hawkman with the cycle of reincarnation, so it's really weird. He finds these archaeological ruins of this hawk god, gains powers of resurrection, so he learns about something really terrible happening in the future and keeps trying to avoid it, but every time he dies, he's destined to be reborn with his consciousness in his infant body. So he's referred to as the one who knows, as in he knows something terrible is coming and he's trying to avoid it, and he just does it over and over again. But he is crazy OP in the comic books because he has the powers of a hawk god. It's nuts. The next big one is Ayesha's backstory. So she's known as Kismet in the comics, and she's created by the same group, the Enclave, that created Adam Warlock, to be this super-powered being, but she rebels against them, destroys their facility, then eventually goes into another cocoon and comes out looking like she does now. She was actually born a man the first time, and she sets out over the galaxy to find a mate for herself. So not quite as much backstory. She's kind of a weird character, but like I said, she becomes the mother of Starhawk. But then, of course, the next big one, Adam Warlock's creation. So they changed the origin of Ayesha in the Enclave. They had to change Adam Warlock's creation. He comes after her in the movie, even though the reason for his creation is very true to the comics, just created to be this perfect being that will serve the will of Ayesha. But in the comics, he came first, then she came. He didn't have anything to do with her creation. The next big one is Peter Quill's powers. He has no powers in the comics. He's just a totally normal person who's half alien because he's half spartoi and half human. More of a Han Solo character, which is kind of the way he ends this movie because the light went out, the source of his powers went out, so he's not immortal anymore. Most of that change was just done in service of bigger changes, but it gave you really funny moments like him making really weird shit. Oh, I'm gonna make some really weird shit. Cut to him actually turning himself into a version of Pac-Man to take down Ego the Living Planet. One of the best jokes in the movie, but like these last three are all really big Ego the Living Planet comic book changes. So Ego's life mission to terraform the universe, turn everything into me. In the comics, that's not what he's trying to do. He has a huge ego in addition to literally being a huge ego, but really he's just looking for other things like himself. He has a brother called Alter Ego, but it's not like he's on a celestial quest to terraform the entire universe. Next big one is that movie Ego describes himself as a Celestial. In the comics, he came after the Celestials. He's closer to being one of the elders of the universe, somebody who's been around since the dawn of creation. But technically, the oldest living thing in the comic book universe is Galactus. He's a remnant of a previous universe. The Marvel multiverse has this cycle of death and rebirth. You learn about it during the Ultimates comic book. It's really cool. What happens is that every time the multiverse is destroyed, another multiverse is born in its place. So the Galactus that we know in the comics right now is just like a leftover piece of the previous version of the multiverse. But what happens is there's this cosmic being called Infinity, and it's like the representation of the universe itself. It's not Eternity. Eternity is the representation of the multiverse, which is a little bit different. But Infinity itself created the Celestials to be its servants. The Celestials created the Black Galaxy. The Black Galaxy is this organic place in space that's made up of a lot of things like Ego the Living Planet, so that's how he grew to be a sentient planet. Then over the course of a couple million years, he learns how to move himself, leaves the Black Galaxy, it starts popping up in the other comic book titles. But you don't have any Galactus, we haven't seen any of the cosmic entities, we just learned about Eternity through Peter Quill's character. I'll do another video about that too, because it's a huge deal. So the cosmic entities of the MCU are just a little bit different from cosmic entities in the comic books. But finally, biggest change is that Ego the Living Planet is Peter Quill's father. In the comics, it's Jason of Spartax, the leader of this giant space empire. James Gunn said the biggest reason for this change is that he wanted Peter Quill to feel like as much of an outsider in space as possible. Now, there are a lot of humanoid people, but if you bumped into Jason of Spartax, he would look like any other human. You wouldn't know that he was an alien unless he told you where he was from. It'd be like bumping into Sylvester Stallone's character. So a lot of it was just in service of doing something really cool and really weird with a cosmic level villain and tying Peter Quill to that, making him choose between his celestial father, his heritage as a Pac-Man god, and his human half, the half that really wanted to save the galaxy and all his friends. But let me know in the comments, what was your favorite comic book change? Usually people complain about big changes, but I feel like the Ego twist was a lot of fun. I really love it when they do weird stuff, and Guardians of the Galaxy is an inherently weird movie franchise, so I feel like it totally works. But like they've said, they're going to be doing 10 more years of cosmic Marvel movies, not just Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So we'll have all kinds of time getting to really weird, really cosmic stuff. And I really do think that once they get past Guardians 3, we might get to see an Adam Warlock version of the team, depending on how that character works out. Because he said Guardians 3 is the last iteration with this team right here, so it's going to change a little bit. But what's happening next is there's a new Spider-Man trailer that's dropping tomorrow. I'll do a video for that. There's a whole bunch of DC comic book stuff, but leave all your requests for more Marvel videos in the comments below. And there's a new round of the ticket giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. I'll announce the winner when I post my next Marvel video. Click here for post-credit scenes and click here for the Defenders trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.